speak now to Cristiane Mazzetti. She's an Amazon forest campaigner at Greenpeace. She joins us from Sao Paulo in Brazil. You know, we saw a lot of coverage in 2019 of the Amazon deforestation fires, but the coronavirus pandemic has really overshadowed most of the news this year. What's the situation like this year?
So yeah, despite the pandemic, we see an increase in deforestation and fires. While many sectors, they were in economic recession, the activities were reduced, and emissions of greenhouse gases was reduced in many places in the world. In Brazil, this was actually the opposite. Deforestation just increased, and also fires when we compare it with the figures from 2019.
So what's behind this increase in deforestation?
This increase was actually expected because there is an anti-environmental policy that has been put in place by Bolsonaro's administration. This anti-environmental policy undermined environmental agencies, dismantled them, and hasn't been applying any effective strategy to really curb the problem. The strategies being used are wrong. For instance, putting the protagonism of combating deforestation through the army instead of strengthening the environmental agencies such as IBAMA and ICMBio. And what we see now is the result of this policy.
You know, we always talk about the Amazon as being the lungs of the planet. What are the long-term or even short-term implications here and the impact these fires and deforestation will have on the environment, not just in the Amazon, but globally?
So Amazon is a regulator, a climate regulator. So once it's gone, or once it hits the tipping point, we are closer and closer, parts of the Amazon will become something more like a savanna. And then many environmental services will be lost. So for instance, the climate regulation globally is gonna be threatened. And in the case of Brazil and South America, the rain that falls over crops and reservoirs will be reduced. And this is why we should be very concerned, not to mention the biodiversity loss. So the Amazon concentrates a very rich biodiversity, which now is under threat as deforestation increases. And Amazon may host the next pandemic if we keep on deforesting and burning the forest year after year.
So what is Greenpeace and other environmentalists doing to try to counter this? Can anything be done to protect the rainforest?
We've been exposing this anti-environmental policy and demanding from the government a concrete plan to be adopted for the Amazon. We've been demanding that the environmental agencies such as IBAMA and ICMBio, they receive more attention, their protagonism is given back. And we are asking companies that source from products that can have a relationship with forest destruction to really look after their supply chains and exclude forest destroyers. And we keep mobilizing people to pressure companies and governments to take another direction and really getting this situation changed.
You know, in the U.S., President Trump has been a big supporter of the Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro. The defeat of Trump, do you think that means that with the new administration coming next year that will help to increase international pressure on Bolsonaro?
The international pressure is already there. Many countries already pressured Brazilian government, because what we say is that Bolsonaro's action are not only damaging the environment, but also Brazilians' reputation outside the country. So letters from investors, banks, global companies, and other leaders already were received by the Brazilian government. Still, we don't have response. So we know that the new administration in the United States is in favor of Amazon protection, and we hope that our government provides a response to really curb deforestation. What we saw in the past is that those moments of international pressure and high rates of deforestation, they had a response from the government. So in 1998, the government created protected areas, changed a little bit regulation in the Amazon to protect more forests. Then in 2004, 2005, an action plan was put in place. And now what we have, despite the pressure, we don't have any concrete measures actually in place or a plan to change the scenario.
All right, well, we're going to leave it there for now. Cristiane Mazzetti in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Thank you.